Hey people, this is Mr. UV, aka Mr. Ultraviolet, and we're back today with another video on Wild West Heroes. Today we're going to be covering the second tier list video. It's about the mid formation, the damage dealers, and here's a disclaimer: we're going to be covering all the characters at max stats. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. We're going to organize it for the mid, and let's just get right into it. Now, this is all based off my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. Number one on this list is, in my opinion, Pathfinder. Pathfinder is number one on this list because she attacks everybody on the enemy team for 190% of her attack. She also can detonate with burns and bleed effects, basically cashing all that damage out. If it says attack, like you know how it'd be like burn the enemy for 40% of your attack for 5 seconds. When she uses her special, she'll cast all that damage out at an instant. You won't have to take the 5 seconds or whatever the duration is. She'll cash it all out at that moment, on top of the 191% of her attack that she's doing. So she can do massive damage. The more afflictions that the enemy team has on them, she's going to do more damage. And what makes her even better is that she applies the afflictions. So she can put the burns on them and the bleeds on them herself. So she can increase her own attack by herself and make herself do massive damage. She also gains damage reduction, you know, automatically passively. She also gains the 25% damage reduction. That's at all times. That's her passive. And she also has a self heal. So whenever she gets hit by someone that has a damage affliction on them, that bleed, that burn, she's going to be healing herself. Also, she's going to be increasing her own attack. Now, the thing that kind of makes her, those are the pros. Now here's a con that works with her, is that yes, she is pretty much an all-around character, self-sustaining. She does everything in the game. She increases damage, she increases crit, she increases her own damage reduction, she can heal herself, all of these things. But for her to do massive damage, I'm talking wipe out a whole team and maybe two specials, she's gonna need another person on the team that can apply, status affliction. Someone else that can apply burns and bleeds, because the way the timers they work, she does have a 7% uh lag on it, so she only can use her burns every second, 7 seconds, right? So those 7 seconds might be active while she's waiting for her special to kick in, so she won't be able to detonate it. So it's better to have someone else that can also put those burns or bleeds on it, and then if you do, she'll be able to do her maximum potential. So that's pretty much the only con about this character, is that you might need to throw another character on the team that can apply damage afflictions or status afflictions, burns or bleeds or anything of that nature. Other than that, this character is number one on my list at damage deal. All right, so let's get into number two. In my opinion, it is Sunset Stalker. Excuse me, Sunset Stalker. Now, this character right here, the thing that makes her kind of borderline broken is that because every time, this is at max, every time a character on your team, a teammate uses a special, she has 100% chance to use a special, and it does not take from her special meter. So every time one person, you got four other people on the team, she's able to attack up to 5 times in a whole rotation. Meaning every time a rotation will be your whole team using all the specials. She's able to attack 5 times throughout the whole rotation. So she's able to attack every time another person on your team uses a special. That is a great special, especially if you start um, putting her on teams with people like strings, that increases the amount of times that your team can use specials. This character can be borderline broken. And the thing about her is that she's always going to hit the person with the highest special meter. So before they get to use this special, it's not 100%. It depends on how it her special and their special lines up, because they might special before she has a special meter. But she will always hit whoever has the highest special bar on the enemy team. So there is a chance that before they get a chance to use a special, she can hit them with hers, and then there's a 50% chance that she can lock them down. And lockdown means that they can't use normals or specials, so they're just going to be standing there for 3 seconds doing nothing but taking damage. That's kind of like borderline broken, especially if that was 100% chance to lock them down. It's 50% chance, so it's half and half. It might work, it might not. But just her being able to hit out of turn puts her at the top 3 in this list right here. All right. Not only that, she does have a chance to increase her attack and crit rate, which can enhance increase the amount of damage that she's able to do. But this is where the con comes in. She will need another character on the team, like Pathfinder or Hellfire Kid, or someone like that that can apply a burn or bleed on the enemy team. Because when she hits that person that has that burn or bleed, she's going to increase her crit rate, not the crit damage, but the crit rate, how often she will crit, and her attack. And this is about 6%. It goes up. She can do it to 6 times. That's 36% increase on attack and crit rate. That is phenomenal. Now, another con that she does have, because she is a single target damage dealer, meaning she only hits one person at a time, she does rely heavily on accuracy. Because if she missed, then it's pretty much a waste of an attack. So you're probably going to want to build her with some type of increase of accuracy on her, either on her gear or on her horse, or maybe how you put her on your assigned bonuses for what spot you got her at in the town. But other than those, this character is phenomenal. She can do crazy damage. I've seen her wipe out whole teams in an instant. Within that first rotation of your whole team using the specials, she just wipes everyone out. One shot, one shot, one shot. She can do crazy, massive amount of damage, and at the same time stop the enemy from doing maybe the kill stroke that can take you out of the game. So she's number 2 on the list, and let's get into number 3. Number 3 is probably what everyone probably would have thought would be number 1 or 2, but he's number 3 on my list, and we'll get into why. So let's get into his pros first. This guy does the most massive and most highest burst damage in the game. He does 570%. That's just base. 570% of his attack. If you build this guy with an attack build, increasing with the town bonus, gear, everything just increases his attack and his crit and sending that through the roof, this guy can pretty much one shot everyone in the game. One shot. All right, the way he works is that he's once again like Sunset Stalker. He's a single target damage dealer, but the way he works is that he targets the person with the lowest amount of health. So at the beginning of the match, before anyone takes damage, he's going to most likely either hit either your tank or whoever has the lowest amount of max health on the team, and then he works his way down. Right, this guy, he can snipe and take someone out in an instant. Not only that, when he hits 70%, he increases his attack even more. As well, he increases his crit rate by 25%. That is crazy. If he hits under 70% and you don't kill him, you're probably going to want to try to hope you got a control character on your team, or hope your team hits him with a crit to take him out. Because if he doesn't, he's pretty much going to take out your whole team. He also grants himself immunity to debuff, so that's no defense down, no offense down, attack down, or bleeds or anything of that nature. He takes it off himself if he already had it applied before he hit 70%, and if he doesn't have it on him, it won't be able to stick to him or be applied because he'll be immune for 15 seconds. All right. And pretty much when he hits that 70%, if he doesn't die within the next 5 seconds, he pretty much is going to wipe out your whole team. So the duration of that 15 seconds really doesn't matter. All right. So also, when this character, like when he finishes someone with a special, he also is able to special back to back. He's going to gain 800% special meter. If he kills someone with his special, he's going to gain 800% special meter, which is pretty much going to guarantee him another special right after that. And if he kills that person in one shot, he's going to be able to special again and again. This is how he wipes out your whole team in an instant. If he doesn't kill him when he uses his special, he gains another 15% increase on his attack. This is crazy. This guy does the most damage in the game. But the cons that comes with him, and the reason why he's not number 1 or number 2, is because, for one, he doesn't gain any type of sustain, no defense, no damage reduction. He doesn't heal himself or anything of that nature. He's going to require either someone like Sawbones or a healer on the team, or someone like Preacher that can apply a shield and that increases his defense and damage reduction, or he has the potential to get in one shot. Also, if he goes up against someone like Sister Mercy, or maybe even Sunset Stalker, or someone, or even Maverick when he hits that 50%, if he gets locked down and he's not able to special, he can get decimated before he has a chance to do what he's supposed to do. He has one job, he does it very well, and that is to do massive amounts of damage. But if he can't special, then he's pretty much a useless character just with high stats. Remember that. He has to be able to use his special. That's all he's pretty much there to do, is the special. But if he can't, then he's useless. So remember that. And also the third thing is that because, like Sunset Stalker, he's a single target damage dealer. If he has his accuracy decreased, or he tends to miss, or he goes up against someone with high dodge, then he once again becomes useless because he's not able to deal that damage. But remember, if he doesn't kill him, he does get the increase of attack though. But still, he needs to land the damage to be, useful. All right, so that's number 3. Let's get into number 4 on the list. It is Hellfire Kid, right? So let's get into it. He damages everyone on the enemy team for 200% of his attack. That's the highest AoE amount of damage in the game. 200% of his attack. That's the highest one. He also inflicts bleed for 5 seconds, doing 30% of his attack for each one of those 5 seconds. So each second he's going to do 30% of his attack through a duration of 5 seconds. That's massive. If you build this guy just like Coffin Man for an attack build, he can wipe out the whole team in like 2 to 3 specials. This guy can do massive damage. So he's hitting you with the burst damage of the 200%. On top of that, he's going to do dot damage for 30% of his attack. So he's hitting you with the burns. He also gains damage reduction and an increase of his attack. It caps out at 25% for each. 25% attack, 25% damage reduction. But the way that he stacks that 5% is that he has to take damage. So when he takes damage, he increases his damage reduction and his attack by 5%. Keep that in mind. He has to take the damage to get that increase. All right. Excuse me. Every 9 seconds, he's also going. This is a passive damage. Every 9 seconds throughout the whole duration of the game, he's going to attack the whole enemy team. The whole team. All enemies. He's going to attack them with burn. He's going to attack them and burn them. He's going to attack them for burn. That's 30% of his attack. As well as he's going to do additional 3% of their max HP for 4 seconds. No, he can use this for 4 seconds. No, it says HP every second for 4 seconds. So that's 4 seconds that he can use it. He's going to tick 4 times throughout that duration of 4 seconds. Right now, it says that 3% of their maximum health. Now, the more more HP that the enemy has, the more health the enemy has, the more damage this is going to do, because it's 3% of their max HP. So if you're going up against harder content, you might want to bring this guy because he's going to do more damage than your team would be able to do normally. Because his damage is based off how much health the enemy team has. This is why he can decimate a team easily. Build him for attack, he can do work. Those are the pros. Now the con is that, once again, like I said earlier, for him to get that increase of attack, that 25% and that 25% damage reduction, he has to take damage. So he has to get hit for him to get it. So that's the con. He can get sniped. Like if you're going up against a Coffin Man and he has the lowest amount of health and Coffin Man targets him, he can get one-shotted before he had a chance to stack that increase of attack and that increase of damage reduction. So keep that in mind, that he can get one shot before he's able to gain, that extra damage reduction and attack. Other than that, the guy does massive damage. It's AoE damage. He does massive dot damage. He's able to take out harder content because it's based off their health pool, and he does have some type of sustain with the damage reduction. But the con is it's gated behind him taking damage to get it. All right. So let's get into number 5. Number 5 on the list is Tex. Now he closes out the top 5, and the top 5 trend is all of them are the only legendaries. So all the legendaries did make the top 5 in this list. So let's get into why he's number 5. Now, text, he damages close and mid-line enemies. It says close, that's probably a typo. It's supposed to be, tanks, which is front. So he damages the tanks and mid-line enemies for 250 of his attack. As well, he goes into like a berserker mode. The way for 8 seconds. The way the berserker mode works is for 8 seconds, he's going to increase normal damage by 30%. And this applies to all of the enemies. So he's going to do more normal damage, then he's going to do an increase of normal damage by 30%. So all the little pew pews, it's going to be increased by 30% of his attack. He's going to do way more damage with those normals for 8 seconds every time he uses his special. Alright? Now, let's get into his first passive. Every 9 seconds, he's going to increase the attack and crit rate. How often they can crit, that's what crit rate means. He's going to increase the attack and their crit rate for the 2 highest attack teammates by 15%. So every 9 seconds, he's going to increase the crit rate and attack by 15% of the 2 highest damage dealers on your team. This lasts for 8 seconds. So it's only a 1 second gap, and then he's going to kick on again. So this is, and another thing is, this is an unlimited buff. This does not stop. As long as the match is continuing, with that whole minute and a half, this is going to kick off every 9 seconds. So that 90 seconds, 10% of the match, this is kicking off. Boom, 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 back to back. Every 9 seconds, this is going to kick off as long as he's alive. So this is unlimited buff. I've got it to go up to 12 for him to do it 12 times in a whole match. That's the highest I was able to get it. And this is a good skill for stuff like the train event that's out currently of me recording this video, or for your posse boss, because he's going to increase for your damage dealers, your 2 highest damage dealers, attack and crit rate. He can send it through the roof. Like I told you, I got it to stack up to 12 times, right? Now, also, he does at the beginning of the match, the first 20 seconds at the beginning of the match, he's going to increase the midline, which is your damage dealers, and your backline, which is your support. He's going to increase their attack by 15%, and he's going to increase their damage reduction by 30%. This is phenomenal. This can help you in missions where you usually would die very early on. That damage reduction will definitely help, and it allows you to do more damage at the beginning of the match. So it's great for people to do a lot of damage. Now, those are the pros. And if you haven't picked it up yet, the number one con with this character is that he's more of a support character if he's not the first or second strongest damage dealer on the team. If he doesn't do the most damage on your team or the second most damage on your team, he doesn't fall into a damage dealer category. He falls more into a support, because the way his passive is, he's going to increase the attack and crit rate of whoever the top 2 damage dealers on your team. So he has to fall into those top one. He either has to be the first or the second. If he's not, he's pretty much just buffing whoever else on the team does damage, which is why I say he falls into a support. Once again, he'll increase attack and damage reduction for everybody that's a midline and support on the team. So that's more of a support type of skill, as well as he can increase attack of normal damage. But like I said, if he is the second strongest or the first strongest team member on your team, then yeah, this guy could do massive amount of damage, and he can increase his own damage, as well as he can increase his own sustain through damage reduction. But remember, he has to be either number 1 or number 2 damage dealer on the team. Other than that, he's good to go. All right, that's why he falls in number 5, because he's probably, if he wasn't a damage dealer, he would be probably number 2 support character in the game. And number 1, in my opinion, it will be Preacher. But that's for that video in the future, the support list. But just get this guy to number 1 or number 2 on the team. He'll do what he's supposed to do. All right, so now that all the legendaries out the way, we went through the top 5. Let's get into number 6. Number 6 is this girl right here. Now, this is probably a shocker to you, but when we get through this kit, you're going to be surprised on what she can do. And she can do what she does. She's the only one that can do it. So at this moment, I'm recording this video. So let's get into it. The way her special works is that she damages the tank front and mid. So she's hitting tanks and damage dealers for 150% of her attack, and she's also inflicting bleed. That's doing 30% of her attack every second for 5 seconds. Also, there is a 30% chance that she can inflict blind for 5 seconds. What blind is that if this lands on them, they will miss every attack for 5 seconds. So if they have a special and it fills up within that 5-second duration and they use it, it will miss automatically. Automatically. That's how blind works. She's the only character in the game at this moment of making this video who can apply blind to the enemy team. So that is a phenomenal ability. It is 30% chance. That's kind of low, but hey, it can happen. 30 is better than 0. All right. So let's get into our passive. All right, whenever attacking someone with a status affliction, that means burning or bleeds, she's going to increase her damage reduction. Excuse me, she's going to increase her damage. So she increases her attack by 30%, as well as lower the enemy's defense by 30% for 5 seconds. Man, I'm telling you, you don't understand how impactful this ability is. You can go into a match where a person usually kill your whole team with full health. You hit them with this, she applies that defense down, and it doesn't just go to one person. It's going to go to everybody that she normally attacks, which is, mid and the tank. So frontline mid, they all are going to get down defense down. That is crazy. When they get that defense down, you're going to be able to melt through their health. Melt through it. That's 30% that you're lowering their defense. That's phenomenal. And it lasts for 5 seconds. Now, let's get into, all right, she does have an increase in accuracy and she increases her dodge as well. But here's another thing that makes her kind of top tier. Every 9 seconds, she's going to heal herself equal to 150% of her attack, as well as she's going to increase her attack by 30% for 8 seconds. So it's only a 1 second downtime, and then it's kicking on again. So it's constantly going to be used. She's constantly going to be able to use this heal and increase of her attack. This girl, I'm telling you, this character right here does massive damage. She's on my main team. She does massive damage before the defense down and after the defense down. The defense down helps everybody on your team do massive damage. That's why she's right after all the legendaries. Because now we're getting to the cons. Those were the pros. Now, yes, she can apply that defense down, but the con is that it only happens when she's attacking someone with a status affliction. Yes, she can apply it herself, but if it doesn't line up, if the skills don't line up all the time, it can be kind of iffy. So you probably want to definitely bring someone else with status affliction on the team. Someone like Sunset Stalker. I would say Sunset Stalker, but Pathfinder, someone that applies bleeds or burning. So Hellfire Kid and Pathfinder are good, candidates for that. She can do it herself. Remember, she can put these afflictions on herself. So she can, put the defense down. She can gain the defense down by herself. She won't. It's not guaranteed that she needs that extra person. But it'll be better if she did. That's the only con for this character. Other than that, she's pretty much a legendary that's not a legendary. That's why she's number 6. All right. So let's get into number 7. Number 7. Here might be another surprise. It is Blossom, the new damage dealer they added right before the Prospector. This character, now we're looking at max stats. Now the stats are different. This skill right here, our first passive, is different when they're not max. But we're looking at max stats, all right. And the reason why I'm saying that disclaimer because it does in fact affect how much damage she's going to be able to do. But we're looking at max, right? This character is able to do massive damage. The way that she works is that she's going to fire off her special, right? It attacks at max stats 6 times. So she has a chance to hit random enemy 6 times. It's going to hit a random enemy 6 times. It's through those 6 attacks. If she hits the same person more than once, she's going to get an increase of 20% attack. And this keeps stacking. So if she hits the same person 4 times, come on, 80% increase of her attack. That's massive. That's massive. So, but we're going to look at her kit. There's always going to be that luck factor, that RNG with this character, and they built her around that whole thing. She's a gambling type of character or whatever. That's her little persona or whatever. But so it is a chance that she might just hit everybody one time. But remember, at max is 6. So at one person out the team is going to get hit twice, guaranteed. If you max this character out, there is a guarantee that she'll hit at least one person twice. So you're always going to gain that 20% increase on the attack. And it goes, so it's 20% guaranteed, and it can go all the way up to about 6 times 20, boom. So that's 100, 12, that's 12 times, right? Right, all right. 120 increase. That's crazy. 120 increase on her attack. That's phenomenal. All right, so let's get into it. This is right here where I was talking about will increase the amount of attacks that she can do. It maxes out at 3. So she's already doing 3, and then she can do an extra 3. That number is different for, lower levels. All right. So this is the other thing that makes her kind of, iffy. But she can do phenomenal at what she's supposed to do, which is damage and, sustain. Now, when her health hits 60%, she has a 50% chance that she can increase her attack by 30%, or she can heal the whole team. All the teammates can get a heal of 270% of her attack. Now, the way you want to build this character is 100% attack. Build her for attack. Build her for attack. Because the higher her attack, the higher the heal. And the higher the attack, the more damage she'll do. So, once again, it comes to RNG, the luck factor. When she hits at under 60%, she can either increase her attack by 30%, or she can heal the whole team for 270% of her attack. Remember that. It is luck, and this only can be used once. Now, this character does phenomenal. She's a great character. She can wipe a whole team out in probably about 2 turns. If she specials, if you build this character right or in a level right, 2 turns of her using a special, she'll kill everyone. Because she's probably going to, at least one character is probably going to die by the time that she gets a second chance to use her special, which is then increasing the odds that she's going to get that double down effect, where she's going to, if she hits the same person twice, and increases the attack. So this character can do massive damage. But the con with her is that this character's whole kit is based off RNG. If you're a lucky person, you might love this character. But you might be in a match where you need a heal, and she gets an increase in attack, and then your team dies, or vice versa. So, but she can also, she can, play as a double agent, as a damage dealer and a support character, if she can get off the heal. But remember, it only can be used once. So if you miss it the first time and you get the attack, you're not going, and you heal her up, and then she drops to 60%, she's not going to be able to use it a second time. It's only once. So that's why she falls at number 7 on the list. She does have sustain, not only for herself, but the whole team, and she increases attack. And she can pretty much wipe a team out in probably about 2 turns. Alright, so let's get into number 8. Number 8. This whole point from here on is probably going to be a surprise to you. Number 8 on the list. Sidewinder. Alright? Now, she does attack all of the enemy teams for 150% of her attack. In addition, she'll target them. Whoever she hits and she targets is also going to get poisoned. Right? Now, the way poison works in this game is that it lowers your special meter. It doesn't do dot damage. It doesn't do damage to the character, even though it says poison. It doesn't do damage to the enemy. What it does is it takes down their special. And I think it's like 30 points every time that the poison, ticks. Right? But if she uses her special and she hits someone that has that poison on them, she gets an increase of a 15% attack per stat. Remember, that's per stat. Alright, so let's get into her kit a little bit. Every 9 seconds, she's going to poison a random person, causing them to lose 60 grit points, and HP equal to 30% of her attack for 5 seconds. So, I recant my last statement. It does do damage. It does do 30% of her attack, as well as it takes down their special meter by 60%. So that is my fault. It does do damage, right? And that stacks. That stacks. That's every 5 seconds, and there's unlimited amount of stack you can put on this. So it's the all right. I'm jumping ahead. So it does stack unlimitedly. Whenever a person on the enemy team uses a special, they automatically get poisoned, right? Whenever an enemy uses a grit skill, inflict poison on that enemy with the highest current grit points. So when a person on the team uses a special, it's going to poison whoever has the highest special. So it's not always that target, but the way that it's going to work, it's going to be that person because they're using their special, which means it's full. So it should be them, and if it's not them, it will be the second, right? This poison drains the target's grit by 30 points and 30% of their HP by and HP by 15% of this hero's attack each second for 5 seconds. So when they use a special, it's going to kick the poison, activate the poison onto the person with the highest special meter. It's going to lower their special meter by 30 points, and it's going to take 15% of her attack from their health every 5 seconds. All right, that's on top of this 30% health. So they're going to take in the total 45% of her attack. That's how much damage they're going to take every time they're poisoned. And both of these are going to kick off at the same time. So that's guaranteed to kick off at the same time. On top of that, they're going to take that 60 plus this 30. So that's a total of 90. So they're losing 90 special points. This is at max. They're losing 90 special points every time they get poisoned. And they're going to be taking 45% of her attack damage every time. And that can stack unlimitedly as long as she's alive. Then, if she uses her special on the person that is poisoned, remember, if she uses her special on a person that's poisoned, they're going to take an additional 15% of her attack. And that's per stack of poison. So you want to keep track of that if you really want to gauge how much damage she's doing. Now, seeing this character in harder parts of content, she can do massive damage, but, air quotes, it does take a long time for this to kick in. And I say long time, it's probably about I'll say about 3 specials. So she's really not going to do crazy amounts of damage unless you're underpowered going against her team or you're overpowering your enemy. She's not going to do really massive damage. So that's where the con comes in. Even though she's able to do this dot damage over time, as you can see, she's not burst damage, she's sustained damage. Because even though she's doing that little bit of damage over time, it can calculate to do a lot of damage. But her by herself, she's not going to be someone that's going to knock out your team in a heartbeat. No, it's going to take some time for all those poisons to stack up. Because unlike everyone else, it doesn't cash out. She has no way really to cash it out instantly. And she's not doing a lot of damage. She's doing, 150, which is the lowest amount of damage for AoE. So she doesn't do a lot of burst damage, but she can do damage over time. Now, the cons is it takes a lot of time for all that damage to kick in. That's the con. So she can get killed before she has a chance to even capitalize on that damage. But she can, go in as a pseudo, control character by taking out special, especially if you put her on the team with Sister Mercy. Both of them two together, the enemy team's never going to be able to special. Just keep that in mind. Because she's taking, special from them every time they use special and every time she hits them, on top of Sister Mercy doing what she does. So she doesn't really do a lot of damage, at one time. It takes a minute for her to get going. That's the cons for her. She takes a minute to get going. All right. Now we're going to get into number 8. Number 8. Oh, no, she was number 8. Number 9. Excuse me. Number 9. Getting a little confused. Number 9 is Billy the Kid. That might be a surprise to some of you. Billy the Kid is so low. Reason why he's so low is, okay, let's get into his kit. He damages the enemy with the highest attack. So he's another guy that hits, one person at a time. He's single target. And he's going to hit whoever has the highest attack on the team. This is base stat. Whoever has the base attack, base highest stat, he's going to attack them for 307%. Now, if you compare that to someone like Coffin Man, that's almost half. Coffin Man, remember, was hitting for 570. He's hitting for 307. Still good. It's still decent. It's still more damage than all the AoEs are doing. It's about up there with the. It's about neck and neck with Hellfire Kid, right? But on top of that damage, he steals 30% of the target's attack for 10%. So he can steal that attack. So if they have increased attack, he's gonna take it right up off of him. And it's gonna apply to him. That's how his kit's gonna work. Also, his passive. 8 seconds. He increases crit rate by 25% and crit bonus by 30% for 8 seconds. So this once again, just like text, this is an unlimited stack. He can this can go as long as the match is able, the whole match duration, and as long as he's alive. This can go to an unlimited number. If he had enough time, it can go to 1,000. This can stack unlimited amount of times. He can increase his crit rate and the damage he does when he crits. Crit bonus, right? Alright, so he increases his attack, his health, and accuracy, you know. But this is we're getting to this part. This is the last passive he has. Each successful attack against the enemy increases his attack by 5%. This can stack up to 10 times, so that's 50%. He can increase his attack up to a max of 50% on top of him increasing his crit. Just one time is 25%. This stacks. Remember, this stacks. This can stack unlimited amount of time, but it won't stack. It won't stack at one point because of how it works. Soon as it lasts 8 seconds and then it kicks on 8 seconds. So what I mean by stack, it doesn't actually. Let me recant that. It's not going to stack, but it will kick off at an unlimited amount of times. Basically, he's going to be able to get 25% an unlimited amount of times. It cannot stack from 25 and then go to 50 because he used it twice because the durations don't line up, right? So I recant that it doesn't stack, but it is an unlimited amount of use that he can use, and that's one of the cons. His doesn't his passives do not stack because it's eight. It lasts for 8 seconds, and it lasts for 8 seconds, and then it kicks on every 8 seconds. Also, another con that he has is that even though that he can still attack, and he does do a roughly amount of good damage, 307% of his attack, he really doesn't do that much attack. His kit at first glance make you think that he can do crazy amounts of damage. Yes, he can. But just like Sidewinder, it requires him to live long enough to get these durations, for these stacks to go off, these buffs to go off. I don't want to keep saying stacks for this character because they're confused. He has to live long enough for these buffs to keep kicking off. Like this right here. Him stealing the attack. Yeah, he'll be able to steal the attack from the highest damage dealer, right? Of the enemy team. But if he gets wiped out, then it's just dead. It's gone. Right? And the attack that he's stealing is gated behind him using his special. Right? And then this right here, his passive, yes, he can gain a maximum of 50%. That's crazy amount. But it does says that he only can gain it per successful attack. So that's why with this one, with his second passive, he gains the 12% accuracy. So if this character does miss an attack, he doesn't get that increase of 5%. You see what I'm saying? He's not able to 100% gain that increase of attack passively because it's gated behind him having to successfully land the attack. Just like how the Chief's heal was. He was able to heal based off the damage he dealt. So he had to deal damage. If he missed and he dealt 0 damage, he's healing 0 amount of health. So he's kind of the same way. So all of his buffs on his kit is all gated behind him using his special and then landing his special. And then his passives is like he has to live long enough for him to stack. Where they don't stack. He has to live long enough for him to keep on consecutively kicking off. Even though it's 8 seconds, it's pretty much what this is saying is that because it kicks on every 8 seconds and it lasts 8 seconds, he's going to have this increase of increase of crit rate and crit bonus all game. It's pretty much going to be on. I don't know why they have it like it lasts 8 seconds and it comes on 8 seconds. They might as well just change it to it stays on. He just gains the 25% crit rate and the 30% crit bonus, because that's pretty much what it's saying. It never goes off because there's no skip in between it. You know, it's no lag. It lasts 8 seconds and it comes on every 8 seconds. So it's pretty much on the whole match. But it doesn't stack. So he just gained 25 and 30, 25 and 30. It's not going 25, 50, 100. It's not doing that. Or 25, 50, 75, 100. It's not doing that. So that's why he's so low. He doesn't have any type of increase in defense, damage reduction, or heals that can allow him to live long enough for him to take effect of all of this. He does gain the accuracy for his attack, his last passive, to constantly go off and hit the cap of 50%. But once again, if this character gets knocked out, he's done. And because his damage is single target, he's really not hurting. He's not doing that much damage. And I'll make a comparison later on in this list, and you'll see why I spent so much time explaining this character compared to when I compare him to the other character. Because you might think he's better than he actually is, but when I compare him to the next character, you understand what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm babbling a little. All right, so let's get into the next character, the sheriff. You would probably think that she'll be higher, right? The way her kit it looks just offhand, off glance, just like Billy the Kid. It looks like the character is better than they are, but they're not. Let's get into her kit. She damages all surviving enemies for 750% of her attack. It is divided amongst them, meaning this is an AoE attack. She's gonna hit everybody on the enemy team, but the damage is going to be divided by 750% of her max attack. So it starts off with 5 characters on the enemy team. That 750 is going to be divided by 5. If a person falls, it's going to be divided by 4. And that's how her damage is, calculated for how much she does per character, right? All right, so you should already be thinking how that could be a bad thing already. It could be. Now when it gets to low numbers like two characters, 3 characters, oh yeah, she's gonna do massive damage. But let's continue on with her kit. Every attack has a 50% chance to inflict bleed. All right, which does 40% of her attack every second. Yeah, bleed. Her percentage is 40. That's good, right? But remember, here's a con. Even though that sounds like a pro, it's really a con because it's not guaranteed. Like every other character we listed previously before her, it was guaranteed that it's either she's gonna get a bleed, she's gonna do the bleed, or she's not. It was always guaranteed. It was just like hit with this attack and apply bleed. Hers is a 50-50 chance. So it can inflict bleed or it can't. So every time she uses her special, she can make them bleed or she can't. It's 50%. It's not guaranteed. So that's really not even a pro. It's really a con. All right. So then we get into our last passive. Whenever this enemy or ally falls, so when anybody, enemies or allies, when one of them fall or die, whatever terminology you want to use, she will restore health up to 10% of her maximum health. So she'll gain 10% of her maximum health. She'll heal that. Every time someone dies, whether it's a teammate or enemy, she's going to heal for 10% of her health. She only can use this 4 times during the battle. Also, she'll increase her attack by 10% and she'll increase her crit bonus. Not the crit rate, but the crit bonus, the damage that she do by 10%. So at max, this can max out at 40%. She'll heal 40% attack and 40% crit damage, or crit bonus as the game call it. So it doesn't matter if 2 of your characters on your team die and then 2 of the enemy die, or if 1 on your team dies and 3 of the enemy team dies. It doesn't matter. Just it's gonna max out at 4. That sounds good, but she's only getting the increased attack, the crit, and the heal when someone dies. So she only able to get those extra buffs when characters die. It's only a 50% chance, flip off a coin, that she'll apply the bleed when she uses her special. Also, her damage is based off of how many characters is alive on the other team. So if the team only has, like I said, low amount of characters, let's say out of those 4 that she was killing, she got the buff based off. Let's say it was 3 on the enemy team and then 1 on yours. So she got the max attack, max crit bonus, and she got all the heals off of it, right? There's only 2 people left on the enemy team. Yeah, that 750%, which is the highest attack, stat on in the game, but it's divided. That's how they trick you. It's divided. Yeah, that 750% is high, but it's going to be divided by amongst those two. Yeah, then you'll get about 300 and some change percent of her attack amongst those 2 people. Yeah, that sounds good. But what if this character dies before she's able to, get those increases? What if the town sheriff gets killed before anybody else on the enemy team dies, or if anybody on your team dies? That's what makes this character not so good. I don't want to say bad, but she's not good. She's not good. I don't want to say bad, but she's not good. She relies too much on people dying before she can do anything. Yes, she's gaining the increase of attack. She's gaining the bonus crit damage, and she's also healing, which sounds really good. I really was going to build her. And if you look at all of the in-game guides that they have, where they give you like tips on what teams to build, you'll see Town Sheriff was on all those teams. But this character only works if she's the one not doing the damage. That's how she works. She's only good if she's not the damage dealer. She can become a good damage dealer if your damage dealers are doing what they're supposed to do. So if you got other characters on the team that can do massive damage and you have her on the team, yeah, she can be a good fifth that maybe can benefit. But at that point, do you really need her to finish the team off? Or can the rest of your team that was already doing the job continue to finish it? That's why she's so low. Just like Billy the Kid, they seem like they're good, but they're really not. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised who actually is better than them, but they just lack like one thing. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. Once again, Lady Luck. Let's get into her. Now she attacks the back line. She attacks the back line, so she's attacking support characters for 334%. And that's crazy amount. That's even more damage than Billy the Kid was doing, right? Of her attack. This attack this attack has a 30% increased crit rate and a 30% increase of attack rate. So accuracy. So she's pretty much not going to miss, because I think the blue guys always get a passive of accuracy as well. And she got crit. Okay, so she's getting the increase of accuracy and the crit, even though it's gated behind her special, but this is when she uses it. So I guess this is where it matters. And she's doing a decent amount of damage. But the character, here's where the con comes in. The character that she's choosing to hit is the support, which is, so she's able to bypass front and midline and go directly to a support, which is the back line. This is a good character for going up against people. Like if you're going up against content and they have a preacher and you're like, dang, if I could only kill preacher early, or he's like a pain in the butt, or Sawbones, the healer, the doctor in the game, the best healer, this is a character that can take them out, because she's always going to target them first. She's bypassing the tanks and the midline, and she's hitting that support character for a decent amount of damage, 334% of her attack. Plus, she's gaining 30% increase accuracy, so she shouldn't miss, and she's gaining an increase on her crit rate. So pretty much 8 out of 10% of the times she's going to crit. All right, and we get into this. She also removes all status afflictions every 6 seconds. So this character should never really have bleed or burning on her. Like every 6 seconds she's clearing that. And it's no lag with it. It's no downtime. It's just every 6 seconds, boom. Every 6 seconds it's gonna kick on. So that's another great ability for her, right? Now, here we go. Her last passive, while in battle, the crit rate is increased by 50%. Each crit increases her damage taken by the target by 30%. So, and this can go up to 8 times, right? So every time that she hits him with a crit, she's going to increase the damage output by 3%. So it's not a 3% really increase, it's a 3% based off it. So let's say that she hits with the 334% of her attack, right? But at the same time, she hits him with a crit. So she's doing crit. So it's going to be more than the 334%. So that's going to be 3% of that 300. That's going to be 3% of whatever that amount of damage she critted for. It's going to be added onto that damage. See how that works? It's not a 3% attack increase. It's going to be a 3% of whatever the attack was going to finalize at, and then it'll take 3% of that finalized attack amount and add that 3% on top of that final to come to the actual final. That's how it works. So it's not an extra 3%. It doesn't work like that. It's going to be 3% of whatever the amount of damage is going to be at the end. So that's plus all buffs. If she gets an increase of crit, or the increase on crit bonus, or she does hit with a crit, or anything of that nature, any of that stuff, it's going to be a 3% of whatever that damage number would be, is what she's going to do. All right. So she sounds pretty good, pretty decent. But the only con that I can actually, and the reason why she's so low on this list, is because she's situational. Like I said, she's a good character if you want to take out people like the Doctor, Sawbones, or the Preacher. Anybody that's on that back line, yeah, throw her on the team. Or you can just power through it. But if you want to have a specialized character that can take them out pretty fast, throw her on the team. That's why she's so low, because she's specialized. She's a specialized character. She's situational. She's not an all-around good character to bring every match. She's good on against certain teams. And that's basically only if they have good support characters. So when I cover the support video next, that tier list, you'll see she might be good against the top 3 to 5 characters on that list. All right, so let's get into the last person, and then we'll end the video. And the last person, if you've been counting, is this guy right here, the Stranger. The Stranger. Now, if you notice about the Stranger, he caps out at 4 purple stars, which is 9-star. He does not go to 10 because he is an innate. Starts off as a 4-star character. You can fuse him together and turn him to a 5-star. But because he starts off as a 4-star and he has to be fused to be turned into a 5-star, he maxes out at 9 stars, which is 4 purple stars, rather than a 1 red star, which is a 10-star. See how like all these guys is 1 red star. In game, that's called a 10-star. Because you have to fuse him to get him to a 5-star, he will max out at a 4 purple star, which is in game called a 9-star. That's just a disclaimer. That's why his stats look different. If this character, I'm just going to tell you this right off box at the beginning. If this character was actually a 10-star, he maxed out at 10-star, this character will probably be he will probably be about 3 to 4 slots higher than what he is. He will probably be around 8. He'll probably be like 8. Yeah, I think he will be 8 because 7 was Blossom. No, he will probably even be higher than Blossom, or they will probably go neck and neck. But let's get into his kit, and I'll explain why. All right. So this guy, the Stranger, he fires his justice seeking bigger, blah blah blah. Basically, he's gonna hit the target with the lowest amount of health. He works just like Coffin Man. Actually, this character is a lot like Coffin Man when you look at his kit. He's basically the cheap poor man's Coffin Man. All right. He's going to hit whoever has the lowest health on the enemy team. So he's the finisher. And he's going to hit him for 500%. So he's second with the most damage, single target damage. He does 500%. This is another reason why he's better than Billy the Kid. This is another reason why he's better than the Sheriff. There's another reason why he's better than Lady Luck. And even better than Sidewinder. But let's keep on going. He does 500% of his attack, and he restores 20% of his damage that he dealt as HP. So he works like the Chief as well. When he deals that damage, whatever that 500% of his attack equals as it gets, subtract by their damage reduction and defense or whatever, and it calculates to the, final damage input, he's going to get that back as health. So that's great. He has self-healing. He's doing massive amount of single target damage. All right. Now, if the Stranger deals the final blow, just like Coffin Man, to the enemy in battle, he'll receive a shield, which is 200% of his attack. So he's gaining a shield. Anytime he kills someone, he's going to get a shield that'll protect himself for 200% of whatever his attack stat is. And he'll increase his crit by 30% until the battle ends. That is crazy. This attack can stack. So that 30% of crit that he gains, that's permanent. Not only is it permanent, if he ends up killing another person. So if he kills the first person on the enemy team, he's gaining that shield of 200% of his attack, and he's gaining that 30% crit increase. Right? So he's gaining that 30% of crit. That's permanent. If he kills the second person on the enemy team, that he's also going to gain another 30%. which equals to be 60% crit rate. And that 60% crit rate is permanent. It stays there throughout the whole match. If he kills the third, it goes up. That's 90. That's permanent. 90%. 90%. All right, which is crazy because it says crit. It doesn't say crit rate or crit damage. So I don't know if it's going to be a 30% crit increase. Maybe it's both, and that's why they just left it as crit. To generalize. But either way, that's ridiculous because it's permanent, and 30% is a big percentage. Not only that, he's gaining the shield, so he's giving himself the sustain to live longer every time he kills someone. Also, he's able to heal every time he deals damage, whether he kills them or not. That's crazy. So he has self-sustain, he increases his own attack, he increases his own crit, whether it's crit rate and crit bonus, and on top of that, it's permanent. And then, you got his last passive because he only gets 3 abilities because he's a 4-star. Remember, he started off as 4-star. He didn't start off as a 5-star innate, right? So he only gains 4 abilities, which is his passives, crit rate, attack, and health. Now, the reason why this character is last on this list is only because of the deficit that he has between his skills compared to everyone else. Like the gap between, if you look at these skills, and remember, all skills for each category, all damage dealers have the same amount base stats. Look, the number doesn't change. These numbers do not change. It's all the same, right? But if you compare his to everyone else, it's like half. You see those? It's half. And this is at max. Now, you can probably add gear and all that other stuff that can probably make it close. But still, if you put that same gear on someone that's already a 5-star, it's still going to equal out. It'll still be stronger than him. If this character was a bit stronger, he would be higher on the list. That's just in my opinion. Now, his usefulness, like I told you, can put him at least 8. And if you remember maybe even 7. So that would actually put him under Calamity, right? Caitlyn, that would put her under her, right? And remember what I said about her. She's pretty much, in my opinion, the second best character in the game that's not a legendary. The character that's above her, in my opinion, is Preacher, only because of what he offers. Heals, defense up, and a shield. But that's for the next tier list video. So that's the video right there. We'll just recap it real quick. Number 1 is Pathfinder. Number 2, Sunset Stalker. Number 3, we got Coffin Man. Right? Number 4, Hellfire Kid. Number 5, we got Tex. Number 6, Calamity. Number 7, we have Blossom. Number 8, Sidewinder. Right? Number 9, we had, not her. Number 9 was Billy the Kid. And then number 10 was the Sheriff. And then we had Lady Luck. And then the Stranger. He's only so low because of the gap between stats at max. Alright? See you in the next video.